are now listening to Lauer Road Radio.
Hey, welcome one and all to the #1 podcast, winter, spring, and fall. Talking sports for the thrill of it all. Hey, talking life, but we're killing it all. Jason and Dan with the master plan. These are dangerous men with the mic in the hand. Bonafide winners everywhere that we go. You're a part of the team.
Lauer Road Radio.
Dad light, thug light, bright lights in sight. All right. What? Dad light, thug light, bright lights in sight. All right. Yeah. Dad light, thug light, bright lights in sight. All right. Bonafide winners everywhere that we go. You're a part of the team.
Lauer Road Radio.
Let's get it.
What?
All right, here we go. At Tanagra, Win the Walls Fell. This is Dan Owings with Lauer Road Radio. Joining. You okay? Oh, sorry. So, you doing okay,
yes,
Jason?
No.
All right, let me just start again. At Tanagra, Win the Walls Fell. This is Dan Owings coming at you another time for Lauer Road Radio with my co-host, as always, Jason.
Yeah.
But we're in a different space with a different group of people. Aaron's here. He's here every once in a while.
Hello.
Stella and Harrison are on the ones and zeros. Jesse is here, and Jason's about ready to unplug his mic. But most importantly, we have a real person here, Dave Landau.
Hello.
How you doing today?
I'm great. I've never been announced as a real person.
Well,
I like it.
So we don't view ourselves as like a real thing, but you're like a real actual person. We have had the county prosecutor for Marion,
The Marion
Ohio?
County prosecutor.
We have had the
Wow.
Marion County prosecutor on the show.
How's he doing?
You know what? He's got a big job ahead of him.
What happened?
Well, there's Marion's got some issues, just like every town.
Well, there's a drive-by behind my house. Has that been? I don't think that's gone to court
There
yet.
used to be
Somebody died.
A drive-by?
Yeah.
Oh.
Drive-by shooting. Somebody died.
Yeah, there used to be
That's
signs
so
up.
90s.
You know what? That's actually one of the more accurate. I think Marion kind of is still in the 90s.
It's stuck in the 90s, yeah.
I think it
Well,
is
that's
still
the
in
worst
the
part.
90s.
Little vintage crime for
Yeah.
you.
So
I'm sorry about the death, though.
Well, yeah.
That's-
Literally,
we
I
didn't
could take
know
a
him.
baseball and throw it and hit.
Yeah,
I mean, that's how close
sure.
it was to
Really?
my house. Yes.
And you shouldn't have done that.
you could shoot it
I
with a
started
gun.
it. Like, why are you throwing a baseball at me?
Yeah, right. That
I
happens.
just wanted to see.
Jason's aggressive. So anyway, Jason reached out to Dave on Twitter.
Yes.
Does that sound right?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
And Dave responded and said he would come on our show. You are at the Funny Bone at Easton in Columbus tonight.
Yes.
Last night too?
Yeah, last night.
Okay.
But by time this releases, it won't count.
It won't help at all.
Don't go to the Funny Bone now. you won't see him.
Maybe next year.
Yeah,
Yes,
maybe next year. So anyway, you agreed to come on the show, and Dave, like I said, you're a real person. You're like you make a living in comedy. Am I right about that?
Yes.
That's impressive.
Yeah.
We're going to talk more about that. But so far be it from me to give you career advice. Like that's not my place to give you. Things are doing just fine for you. You're
I
doing
feel
okay.
like it's going to happen. What's that?
I just feel like you need to learn to say no. Like there have been
to these shows?
Yes.
You know what I mean? You obviously have a problem with that.
I do. I have a huge problem with saying no.
Yeah.
It's really a serious issue.
You probably have people in your life that love you that have told you, Dave, you have to learn to say no.
That's correct. I have a real problem setting boundaries. This is true.
Sure.
I've had to read books on No More Mr. Nice Guy. It's a real thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. But no, I'm here. So
And
you
here
win.
you are.
Not only did you agree to come on the show, you got in the creeper van with me.
I did, which alarmed me. And you held the door open. The way that somebody who was going to hurt me would a child.
Did he have a ski mask on?
He didn't. He lifted it up.
Okay.
Once we got
Dave, come with me.
That was my idea.
Dave, there was a long discussion between my brother and I because
Waited in the lobby.
I
with a
said
mask. It was a clown mask.
I said, maybe don't pick him up in your van.
That's what he said. He goes. He said not to do this.
Mm-hmm.
It was like the first words out of his mouth.
Yeah.
I was
Well,
like, I don't know why.
The choice was either the creeper van or the Prius, and I'm like, I don't want to be a douche.
Yeah.
You know? It's like I'd rather be a creeper than a douche.
Yeah. Well, his answer, he immediately goes, "Well, I have kids." I'm like, that doesn't help.
Makes it
No,
much
literally, right now there's a couple in the
Yeah.
back.
I'm like,
Sure.
And then he showed me his kids, and they don't all match in color. So I'm like,
No,
that
they
doesn't.
I just collect them all over the place.
Well, yeah. So, because just the fact that you said yes on Twitter, but I was like, but you could have just said that, right? And then never, give us a fake address or something. But then that you met Jason, as he is in the lobby, and then followed him inside the creeper van, just to be driven.
Yeah.
right? Like that's an actual risk. Like
Yeah, big
I'm
time.
concerned about you.
I'm very trusting, which is not good. I'll probably end up dead. I mean, we'll all end up dead.
Sure.
But mine will be
He didn't
fun.
even offer you candy. He just
No, which would have been nice. If he was at least had a Twix for me, I would have been like, well, at least this will be worth whatever happens.
So anyway,
But no, he has a good vibe, though. That's how you can tell.
Okay.
Like, there's
All
definitely
right.
people who have asked me to be on shows where because I looked up the show and I look up other stuff.
Sure, of
So,
course.
because there are people that
That
have
could be
asked me
good
to
or
be
bad.
on, and I'm just like, I'm never speaking to this person again online. Because you will look it up, and it's terrifying.
Yeah.
So, no, he was always cool.
this is
Yeah.
forever. What we're doing right now. This will exist in
Uh-huh.
perpetuity as
Yeah.
long as we're recording. Harrison, please tell me we're recording. Okay. All
Is there a
right.
problem?
How you doing,
Stop doing this to me.
Jason?
Because that is the face that he makes when there's a problem.
Yeah, it's the same face.
It's the
for
same
everything.
face he always
Yeah.
has. It's the only face he has. So, Dave, we want to talk about comedy. We want to talk about, I don't know, whatever we're going to talk about. It's just a show. We're just going to have a show. But you're obviously a comedian, but you also, because of your fame, you have proximity to other famous people.
Yeah.
And the one that I want to know is specifically about Glenn Beck. Like, are his wives like cool? Like, are they are they different than one another? Is it all kind of pretty much rinse and repeat? Are they the same? How does that work?
I can't tell them apart.
Yeah.
So there's really no way for me to answer that.
Okay.
I think I've only met one at a time, but it's hard to tell.
Okay.
They're really not allowed in the building. I think that's part of the culture.
That checks out.
Yeah.
That checks out.
That's really all I can tell.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, he's. I think he's married.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I don't know to how many.
Yeah, well, we don't know. I was curious because, our hope is that, we could have that little... We thought about putting the Blaze emblem just on it. We could do it. We have the technology. Just putting it on our show,
Yeah.
just to give
Go
us some
for
credibility.
It. I've allowed you
Oh,
to do
that's-
it.
okay.
I'm
Jason.
sure they'll just...
I think we should
I'll
do it
get
on
in
this
trouble
episode.
for that. Go for it. Put
Let
Normal
them sue
World...
us.
Yeah, put NW and Blaze on each side.
Well,
It's
just-
fine. It's good promo.
We should totally do that. Yeah, so...
I don't know if he's sensitive about that. We'll find out after this airs.
I'll do it.
I always...
I meant the wives thing. I don't think he cares about the...
Oh, hold on. You think he's gonna listen to this?
I doubt it.
No,
I doubt
Someone
it.
will
I
for
doubt
him, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
No, I
I'll
don't.
make that into a short.
I don't think he cares. No.
I don't think he
he's
cares.
got a
He
very
seems
good
pretty
sense
cool.
of humor.
He seems pretty
he's got
cool.
a good sense of humor.
I always wondered, though, like, because our hope is that one day we might be a real person, too. And we might have a show that, people want to listen to. And like...
Like
if-
Pinocchio in an island of boys.
Yes.
Yeah, I get it.
Uh-huh. That's exactly. You
Go
read
on.
my mind. So what I was wondering is, when we floated out there to say, hey, Glenn, maybe we could be a Blaze show, just like Dave. Maybe we could do that. Like, do you only wear the underwear when you're on, like, the show? You know what I mean? The Mormon
magic
underwear?
underwear?
Yeah. Like, is it
I'm
just
not,
like... while
I'm
you're-
not allowed to wear it.
Oh.
I can only smell it. I'm not Mormon. I was raised Catholic,
Okay.
which is
Oh.
it's Satanist to them. So I really can't.
Well, Catholic. Now I have a lot to work with.
I know.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes, I'm riddled with guilt.
Uh-huh.
I don't think I was touched. I don't
Well.
think. You never know.
It's true. You don't know.
I would hit on the priest because I felt left out.
Right. Yeah, you're like, why-
I
what's
would
the-
often not wear underwear
What's wrong with me?
just to feel like
Timmy's
loved.
got that limp,
Yeah.
And,
my brother. Trust me.
Oh, okay.
After
All right.
mass, we'd put a towel down in my mom's car.
Sure.
Just
Sure. This is going great.
yeah. How are the soccer moms listening to this?
Yeah, they love it.
Did you give them the show pitch?
Which one?
Just what the show is.
Kinda.
What was that? How did that look? What was
I believe
that
it was we were talking about Mormons, and well, you said specifically not a lot of religion, and so far it's spot on.
We don't do religion or politics. We don't do religion or politics.
So far, it's living up to all of it.
Well, we don't normally record here, so I'm just feeling all out of sorts.
No, I get it. We're in what many idiots call a library. I get it.
Yeah. It was. I had a.
You missed the
actual
joke.
I missed the joke.
I texted you the joke.
Oh, well, Jason wanted me to just say that we were meeting in the basement of an Asian massage parlor.
Yeah, we
Is that
rented
what
out for 4 hours. And,
Okay.
we got the...
I was thinking the break room of a Bennigan's sounded fun.
Okay,
I
well,
just
that's
had a
fun.
nice
Are
ring. to it.
Bennigan's still around?
I hope so.
Dude, they used to bust your blues. You remember that? Bennigan's Blues
Come on, man. What are we
Busters.
talking about? Of
Yeah,
course.
so
I used to
good.
get the Monte Cristo.
Dude, me too.
Yeah.
How much do you miss that?
Heart attack on a plate. That thing was amazing. Powdered sugar and the sauce that you dip it in.
It's actually worse than the drugs they would sell behind the Bennigans.
Which they did.
Yeah, oh, you bet they did.
I don't know what that powder on top of the Monte Cristo was.
But it made you come back.
It definitely did.
Just like the girl behind the behind the building. Sorry, young people.
No, you're
No,
fine.
it's-
You're fine. You're fine.
Yeah,
we
that's,
knew what we were getting
Stella,
to.
cover your ears.
You know,
Plug your ears.
we
Yeah,
watched.
people do. I think Bennigan's is gone now, though.
I think it is.
And now we're left with stupid chilies.
I want my baby
Is
back,
there
baby back,
a? I think O'Charlie's fit the space that
Oh, yeah.
Bennigan's.
That makes sense.
I think they took that space.
They did.
I,
They
so
stole
we
it.
we mentioned it. I don't know if it was before we recorded it or after. That Marion is where we're from, and so Marion, proximity to Columbus is like an hour away
Yeah,
from
that's about
Columbus. A few years ago, my wife and I were going out. It was our anniversary, and I was like, "Where can we go?" We're going to Columbus, and I put it out on Facebook. Anybody got any restaurant suggestions? I'm thinking some special, cool, niche place in Columbus, and this is going to tell you everything you need to know about Marion. I got like 5 suggestions in a row from all Marionites. That was like Applebee's, O'Charlie's, like Chili's. I'm like, I know those places
Yeah.
exist.
Like, you ever heard of Red Lobster? You're like, thank you. I'll give it a whirl.
You know what? Sounds
My wife and I just
delicious.
discovered Red Lobster. We
Did you
never
really?
went because we thought we didn't have enough money.
Unlimited shrimp.
I'm sorry, what?
That's what I've gotten every single. We went. Listen,
Were you driving by Red Lobster and you're like, one day?
yes. We went in one time
I hope
back
so.
a long time ago,
Mm-hmm.
and we sat down. I looked
Yeah.
at the menu, ordered a water, drank the water, got up and left.
Really?
Really,
He
We
washes
were broke.
windows for a living.
Oh, okay. So
Now
you were
I
the
can
only one
afford
without
it.
a church hat? When did you go? Recently?
I went 3 times in the last 10 days.
Was that was the
Red
first time
Lobster.
you went for real?
Like an 8 there, yes.
For real? So it's the first
Yes.
time you had a Cheddar Bay biscuit?
Yes.
How are you?
I'm excellent. We're gonna go.
It's the best,
frequently.
right?
They are. And my wife is like, I've been missing out on this my entire life.
I know. Like, I don't care what anybody says. You have a Cheddar Bay biscuit,
Yeah,
and you're
and
like, I don't
unlimited
care
cheddar.
if it's all terrible.
Yeah.
I just had this.
That's why we went 3 times in the last 10 days.
I feel bad that you thought it was good. Like, it is good, but I felt bad that you thought it was like,
fancy.
like, oh, this is a little too out of our price
No,
range.
we're from Marion.
We're from
Yeah.
Marion.
Yeah.
There
You know.
actually
No.
is. You made that joke, but there actually is a Red Lobster. It's like the one in Marion that's like
We don't
the
have
thing.
an Olive Garden. We have a Red Lobster.
I mean,
Thank
kids.
It's
God.
the nice restaurant.
Yeah.
I
That's
hate
where you
Olive
took your
Garden.
prom date was to Red Lobster. Like if you
Really?
were rich, like if you were one of the rich kids, you
Yeah.
took your prom
Yep.
date to Red Lobster. You know?
Wow, you're getting
So-
lucky. Well, you're both lucky because you're eating a Red Lobster.
The rest of us went to doubles.
Everybody wins.
Doubles?
Doubles. Yeah.
What is double?
It's a drive-through that's got
Exactly.
Is it a burger place? I'm
They're
guessing.
corn dogs.
yeah, it's a burger place.
Corn dogs?
yeah, corn
Wow.
dogs. Well, they have 2 drive-through
You're
windows.
feeding your prom date a corn dog. You're like, practice.
One now and one later. See, there's two windows at the doubles.
Yeah.
And so it's double.
Oh, I get like
Yeah.
a Rallies
Two
or a
drive-
Checkers.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh wow, what a good name.
Yeah.
It is no longer there. It didn't.
Why?
Make it. It's now Victor's Tacos.
Wow, I bet
It's
that
better. Victor's Tacos is
Listen,
pretty good.
good place?
Yeah.
You get the loaded nachos at Victor's.
You'll be in your car all day.
You can absolutely. Listen, don't sleep on Victor's. It's the best Mexican food
It
in
is.
Marion.
No, I will. That says something.
Yeah.
I imagine the Mexican population has to be.
It's more than you
huge.
think.
It's been
Really?
moving
I don't
lately.
shop at the same stores as them, but they have.
You're not allowed to.
But at the local junior high, no, they won't have it. At the local junior high, there's a soccer game that goes on every Thursday night, and I usually walk by. I walk that's like my dog route.
Yeah.
And there's, just a whole mess of Mexicans out there playing soccer. So like,
Mexican.
you know what I mean? So I don't know. They exist. They're around. They're running the Mexican restaurants.
I figured it was like Michigan, where like my friends who were Mexican, I just thought were white.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I was 19, I moved to LA, and I didn't realize. I was like, oh, like my friend. His last name was Martinez. I just thought it was a white kid, and it turned out I'm like, oh, you're Mexican? I had no idea.
I knew dozens of them.
Yeah, we used to pick seeds out of weed, and we call them beaners. And I'm not saying it to be like racist. We just called them that because no one was ever offended by the term because
Right.
nobody was Mexican. So when
Except
we were
for Martinez.
yeah, but he didn't say anything about it. So like when we were doing it in LA, and when we were doing it with our Mexican neighbors, I'm like, get all the beaners out. And they're like, what?
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, to get all the beaners out. And they're like, what? I'm like, out of the weed. And they're like, I'm like, they explained to me through their fists what we ended up talking it out. Thank God.
That's good.
But yeah, it was an actual story where I just thought, like, you don't call them that? We actually had a place in Michigan, you can look it up, called Beaner's Coffee. I swear to God, you can Google it. It was called, and they had to change it to Big B because, like,
really?
And one Mexican drove into town and was like, excuse me.
Don't know if you know.
It's like if you had a place where you're like, why is this place called Jigs?
You don't know.
Yeah, and you're like, we
Sometimes
don't
you
know. We don't sell anything.
So now that's Big B's.
Big B's.
Ah.
And it was Beaners, but they had no idea.
That's really funny.
That's how unaware we were of Mexican slurs.
Yeah. Well,
I'm gonna pretend that I didn't just learn that was a Mexican slur.
It's true though. Look
So,
it up.
yeah.
You could think it's racist,
It makes
but
sense.
it's just pure ignorance, which is racism. But they opened a store, and not one person was
They
like,
opened a store.
Yeah, well, they were white.
Oh, right.
So I can call them they. I'm one of them. But not one person on the board was like, guys, this is racist. They were like, that's a good name because beans.
yeah.
Because beans.
Because beans.
Just- yeah.
It makes sense. It makes
Checks out.
sense. Well, the way that the show normally goes is we just kind of goof around. I don't know if you could tell, but there's not a lot of serious stuff happening here. But I did actually. This is going to sound super
We
pretentious.
did the religion. We haven't done the politics yet.
We haven't done the politics?
Right.
Okay.
We gotta
How are you
cover
voting
that.
on issue 1?
Oh boy, I'm gonna go yes.
That's the right vote. Is that
Yeah,
the right
that
vote?
checks out.
Okay, that
Good.
checks out.
Our Marion County prosecutor told us yes.
Yeah.
So we're gonna
Ray
do it.
Grogan. If
Ray
you ever get
Grogan.
a chance, he's
What's
a
the
wonderful
issue?
guy.
I wonder if I should be.
I think it has something to do with how hard it is to pass a law. I just know the guys that I like are yes, and the guys that I don't like are no.
I'll go with yes.
Yeah,
You're-
when I see the signs in the yard, I try
Yeah.
to see what other signs accompany the vote
Yeah,
knows.
that's the only way to know.
And then
What
it's
kind
like,
of
what
kind of flags are hanging from the no
Yep,
ones?
right.
I
Literally,
don't quite.
That's my
identify.
That
It's-
informs my political opinion.
What other
honestly.
people tell you, I get it.
Yeah. Yep.
How else would you?
That's how I do it.
I don't know another
It's
way
to bring
too.
back Bennigan's, and it's a yes. It's a
think
hard
that's-
yes.
I think that could be the thing that unites America, bringing back
Bennigan's.
Bennigan's. I mean, we feel like it's so broken, it can't be. I mean, who can't agree on a Monte Cristo?
Oh, it's the best.
It
I had
is.
one last week, and it was the best. I saved half just for later to enjoy it twice.
You have to.
Yeah. Or else you die.
Exactly.
Yeah. You can't just eat the whole thing, or else it's like, I'm going to be sick all night.
I've experienced that. So I did want to talk about comedy. I don't know, Jason, I don't want to step on your toes. If
No,
there's
go
anything
for it.
that you want to talk about.
I mean, I had the whole hand thing.
You want to do that?
I don't
Is it about my puppets?
know what that is.
Have you ever worked
No.
with? Did you ever? Did you ever work with props? Did you ever do the Carrot Top thing?
All the time.
Yeah?
No. Mainly just a trunk of puppets and gags. That's what I do.
Okay,
I know.
that's cool.
Mostly banana tricks.
Do you feel like in the comedian world that the comedians look down upon prop comics?
They did at one point. Yeah.
Mhm.
I saw Carrot Top live, though, and I hate to admit it, I laughed a
Yeah.
lot. I was like,
Well,
okay. It's
Gallagher-
silly stoner humor.
Lived in Marion for a little bit.
Yeah,
Dead now.
no longer with us.
No.
Gallagher, too, lived in Detroit for a while.
Oh, that's
Not
exciting.
kidding. Yeah. A judge ruled he could no longer do his brother's act.
It was his brother.
Yeah.
Gallagher too,
was
and
his
a
brother.
judge said he couldn't do it.
Nope.
That's
he was-
messed up.
Yeah, because
That's
Gallagher
messed up.
sued his own brother, Gallagher, too.
Is Gallagher his first or last name?
I don't know if it's either real name.
Oh.
Yeah,
Was it
but
Gallagher TOO or the number 2?
The number 2.
Okay.
So he went around the country when Gallagher was famous and would do smaller clubs as Gallagher 2.
See, I think TOO he could have that would have passed.
Can I just say I'd rather see Gallagher 2
Yeah.
than Gallagher 1?
I don't know if he's out. I don't know if he came back.
Yeah.
There was a kid once in Kentucky who Gallagher was very, very mean to all week. So he went on stage in front of him, and it was hilarious as Gallagher 3. And he brought up like hot peppers and apples and,
Yeah.
and a tiny mallet, and he would just hit him with that.
Oh, man.
While making puns.
Yeah.
And Gallagher was very angry.
Really?
Yeah,
I love it.
It was fantastic.
That is
His
fantastic.
comedy.
I didn't even meet Gallagher. I just saw him get mad.
I wish I was there. That's funny that he's precious about his comedy. That he's like, I've made
This
a
is
living.
my
doing this.
thing.
Yeah.
He's like, listen, I smash watermelons. All right? That's not what you do.
That is the gist of his.
That's pretty much it.
I feel like I saw him a couple of times, not live or anything, but
In Marion.
but I remember being a kid and thinking like, this guy's great. Like, I just thought he was awesome. But, like, looking back on it, I don't know why I thought it.
Yeah.
No, it was the Sledge-O-Matic, and I'm glad he's dead. That's the best way I can put his
Right.
comedy.
Okay.
Like, I hate to say it, but I am.
Well, he was going to die, whether you're going to be glad about it or not.
Right, and I'm not saying that he should be dead. I'm just saying he's in hell and he deserves it.
Listen, we're on record as a show. One of our we have some cornerstones of Lauer Road Radio, and one of those is that everybody dies.
Everybody
That's the
does.
truth.
You know,
Nobody's beat time.
there's no
Everybody who has ever lived has died.
there's a whole
except-
group of people that haven't died. The ones that are living now.
That's right.
Yeah.
There's a lot that haven't yet.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Possibly more than have ever.
The evidence, it's possible that there are more people that haven't died than have, depending on how you look at the numbers. But evidence would suggest that they're all going to die.
Everybody dies.
Do you remember when Gallagher went broke and he was selling out office props? So he was like, "Hey, I got giant bowling pins." It was hilarious. He had like a giant, silly bike he invented, and like it's a huge like mustache comb.
Yeah.
Like,
I just like
nobody wanted it.
I like the thought of
I dropped
Dave.
$50 on it.
I like the thought of Dave. Do you have a wife?
I do.
Are you married? I like the thought of Dave, like in his hotel room before you pick him up, and she's saying, "What do you think you're going to talk about on the podcast?" He's like, "I don't know, probably Mormons and Gallagher would be my guess."
I assume. At least it's going to go in that direction.
I mean, I know at some point there's going to be that in there.
As long as we mention Bennigan's, I'm going to be fine.
Well, I did want to talk about comedy. This sounds pretentious and stupid, but I am like very like interested in comedy. It's like fascinating to
Yeah.
me. And I'm one of those guys that have always said like, well, like when I was a kid, I used to go to a baseball game and just assume that at some point they were going to look up at the crowd and point at me and say, "Hey kid, could you play shortstop?" And then I would just run out there, and then that would just happen.
Yeah, I saw Rookie of the Year and tried to break my arm. I was like, I'll be that kid.
Yeah, it seemed. I mean, it's
Which is
surprised to
grossly irresponsible to let an 11-year-old pitch for the majors.
He had a rocket, though.
It was just.
I
like,
know, but
kinda
one
like
fastball to the face, he'd have been dead.
Well, everybody dies.
everybody does die.
He had a good run.
Yeah,
Rookie of the
he was
Year?
really good.
How did that
Daniel
movie?
Stern sharing a hotel room with him.
Oh, Daniel Stern.
No, he
Underrated.
broke his arm. It was in a cast like this.
He was in a cast like this,
and then
on
it
the
creates
heel.
And then when he threw it, it just...
It was like 150 mile an hour. I mean, it was like faster than Ricky Vaughn.
and somehow he also got the power to be accurate, like
Yeah.
in that
Yeah.
too.
And John Candy was the announcer, which made me love the movie even more.
Oh, I love John Candy.
Yep,
John
he was the
Candy.
best.
You don't know John Candy?
No, I said I missed John.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I was gonna say
Nobody better.
Yeah, he's great.
Dude, he was the
Candy.
best, dude.
Yeah.
Oh,
There's
Jesse doesn't
honestly-
know who he
Oh,
is.
he's wonderful.
You don't know who he
You don't
is,
know
do
who he
you?
is?
I don't. I know
Seriously?
the name. I've
Yeah.
heard
As
the
a
name.
kid.
Yeah, how old are you?
How old are you?
29.
Yeah.
That's unacceptable.
It is unacceptable.
You've never seen Uncle Buck?
No, I've heard
You've
of
probably
it.
seen Home Alone.
Trains,
I've seen
Planes, and
Home Alone.
Automobiles? You've
No.
seen Home Alone.
I've seen Home Alone.
He's the guy.
Polka, polka.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
You have
Yeah.
something in common with him.
Is he fat?
Yeah. But that's not a bad thing.
No.
In fact, that's a good thing. You could be like John Candy in that way.
Yeah.
John too.
Candy was my favorite actor. That's all right.
He could be John, too.
Yeah, there you go. You
Yeah.
could go on the.
I feel like there's a joke here that's going over my head, but
No, it
No.
was just fat.
okay.
That's
Okay.
what I meant by it. I didn't make
fat
the
joke.
joke. I'm just
No.
explaining it.
Okay.
Don't kill the messenger.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Jesse's kind of the
He knows he's fat.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
knows he's fat.
We're all
mean-
fat. I mean, not you guys as much, but
No, I think
I-
we're all. Well, Aaron's not as much.
I'm pre-diabetic. It's fine.
I'm post-diabetic.
Good for you. Did you take the insulin?
No, he
Not
went
yet.
so
Oh.
far that like science can't explain how diabetic he is.
He
Yeah.
circled back around.
My
Good for
doctor
you.
did say
Some
that I
doctors
bleed
have called
maple
it-
syrup.
That you what?
I bleed maple syrup.
Your doctor said that?
Yes, she did.
And she-
Not a joke.
And she- Your doctor just insults you.
yeah. She called me an hour after my blood work and said, "I don't know what plans you have tomorrow morning at 9. Cancel them."
Yeah.
I did.
How long do I have? 10, 9, 8.
Yeah.
That's,
Yep.
You beat me to that.
oh,
one.
that's fantastic.
Yeah.
Oh, I love your doctor. And did she give you cholesterol medicine?
She tried.
Oh, she tried. And
Yeah,
you were like,
I
no,
mean,
Jesse's like,
thank
this
you.
is disgusting.
I'm anti-medicine.
She's like, "Ah, it doesn't taste like candy.
Sugar in this.
This is
I
gross.
started drinking diet sodas instead of regular sodas.
Oh, that'll do it.
Yeah. Sure.
Can't take that sugar.
Yep.
Sure.
Okay.
Well, at least you found Red Lobster. Just gonna
Praise
keep
God.
your heart going.
All right. Yeah, that's great. That's awesome.
Well, I wish you best the best.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, for real.
You're invited to the funeral.
I'm excited.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna have you headline the funeral.
You're
welcome.
I would happily do a nice eulogy.
Yeah.
I'll be like, I remember the day he told me that his doctor tried to give him medicine to prevent this. And by tried, gave him medicine.
That's a tough crowd, like diabetes jokes at a funeral for a guy that just died from it, Like if you could pull that one off.
You can get a shorter coffin, though, if you lose your legs. Get a nice obese child's coffin.
So can we just lock this in for now, for real? Could
Yeah.
you do his funeral?
I'll do it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. All right,
Have a
good.
6-foot wide hole.
I can't wait. I can't wait for you to die.
Me neither.
Yeah. You have to like 17 people carry the casket, It's going to
Yeah.
be so much.
Oh, yeah.
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 With the urn.
Like, how did he make so many ashes?
Handles on this.
Forget to clean the thing out
A
first.
kettle weight? What is that?
It's like what the Egyptians put salt in.
Well, so speaking of your imminent comedy show that you're going to headline Jesse's funeral,
Yes.
we're going to talk about comedy a little bit, if that's okay.
I hope it's many years in the future.
Yeah.
I hope you outlive everybody.
That'd be great.
Even me.
He might.
That'd be so
He might have
great.
hacked the system.
I hope you
Yeah.
get to go to your doctor's funeral and piss on her grave.
Piss maple syrup.
Just that nice
I
sweet
did tell
piss.
her if she tried to give me insulin, she'd never see me again.
Mm.
Yeah.
And that's not a joke, Dave.
Yeah, I know this is funny. Like,
I'm laughing because I
but
know it's not.
She's like, this is the highest I've ever seen blood sugar, and I'm like, well, yeah,
It's impressive, really.
I
yeah,
yeah,
Jesse's-
you're like, thank you.
His picture's on the wall.
yeah. I'm on the wall of fame for
The
diabetes.
doctor.
Yeah,
She's like, how do you sleep? You're like, you mean the night terrors? She goes,
with a CPAP.
yeah. Oh, I have a CPAP. Doesn't that feel good?
I don't have a CPAP yet.
No?
no.
You.
I mean, I know
No?
it's in my future, but
Oh, it is. It's in your present. You're just not allowing it.
Just like the medicine.
yeah.
I hate my CPAP. Yeah, there's nothing sexier than putting on that elephant trunk. Your breathing machine. Like, all right, honey, you like this? It means I die during my sleep due to overweightness.
You know what? Everyone's got a thing, though. I'm always struck by the skinny people on the My 600 Pound Life that are like the
Enablers. Yeah.
and they're like, I like her nice and big,
Yeah. There's a male doctor on that who's like your female doctor who just roasts them
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
hurts
yeah,
their
yeah, yeah.
feelings.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Doctor Now.
Doctor.
Yeah.
Oh, he's been a great motivator for us.
You could have
Oh.
easily lost 30 pounds by now.
Yeah. It's like, all you do is eat. You'll be dead soon. Look at you. You're fat. All right. See you next week.
He just gives it to him.
I come
straight.
by to hurt your feelings.
So Marion Special, we've had 2 people on my
That's
600
true. Have you
pound
really?
life.
Yes.
Yes.
And we
true.
know
In a
one
town
of
of
them.
40,000, we've made it twice.
That's our claim to fame.
Did they have to rip out the side of the house?
Well, the one lady she had to get hosed off outside of the house.
Oh, that's the funniest.
Yeah.
They had to hook it
I
up
mean,
to the
sad is
washer.
Yeah.
sad.
Well, those two things connect, which does
Yeah.
get us to one of the things that I wanted to talk about.
Sorry,
but if
yeah,
we
we
don't
can
talk
talk.
about
Yeah,
it,
no, please.
no, that's fine.
It is though funny when you're washing somebody in the front yard like a circus elephant sitting in a baby pool.
It happened.
In one of those
I think
above
they did it in the
ground-
backyard, though.
Yeah,
if
that's
I'm-
true. You don't
if
want
I'm
to do it in the
correct.
front unless you're really being funny.
I feel like the producers of My 600 Per Life, whenever they hit like a dry spell, they're like, I guess we could go back to Marion.
Yeah.
You know?
They were
could.
they were
Start
driving
knocking on
out of
doors.
Marion and they were like, another one.
We're gonna do a whole season
Listen,
here.
you go to the Walmart in Marion.
Oh, if
And-
you go to the Walmart anywhere, really.
Yeah, that's true.
You just go, do you know who took the last scooter that you drive?
They've recently, and this is also not a joke, have upgraded the Walmart scooters at Marion. They're extra wide. I mean, the seat is about this big now. I mean, it is like, it makes like a big, I mean, they're really, really nice. So
When
you
when
Yeah.
they start it up, it sounds like a diesel truck too. I don't know.
Really? It beeps and stuff? When you back up for real, though.
Yeah.
All of them do. It's
we
really...
assume Jesse knows.
I can sit crisscross applesauce on it. So. They're nice. They're comfy.
If you ride around in one of those, like it's your fault.
Yes, 100%.
Like if you're getting in one, you've committed.
Yeah.
You have committed.
Of
to-
everybody in here, you're the one that needs to walk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You shouldn't be allowed to park near the store or take one of those. Like, you should see somebody who's very thin run in front of you and take it
Yes.
every day.
It should be a privilege.
Yeah.
Yeah,
like, you
yeah.
can't have that.
There are some people that come down the road in it. Like,
Oh, they're the
Oh,
best.
in Marion, yeah, we
and they have
that.
kids.
They
You
sit
ever
on
see
their
them?
lap. They got a big gulp, and they drive right down the road. I mean,
while
more
they're
than
on
a
their
few.
phone.
And it's
They're
a
on their
caravan.
phone as they're doing
It's
it.
not
yeah.
just one or two.
Yeah,
There's
they just
sometimes
come
there's like
down.
3 or 4
Like,
of them.
what's the battery life on those things? Like the
They get
amount
pretty
of
far.
So they just steal it? 'Cause
No,
know?
they own
No,
them.
no,
I think
they do
they
daily
own them.
trips to Walmart.
Oh, so they bought their own?
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yes.
think they bought their own.
Really?
Yes.
Is it, so it's not like
it's
a
a
the,
hover around. No, it's not like the wheelchair thing.
Yeah.
It's like the
the
Walmart
Tom
version.
Cruise hover round. But it's the Walmart version.
Yeah.
It has to have like off-road, like maybe wheels or something, because the sidewalks in Marion also aren't great. You know,
I
so,
see them
like-
on the road.
Yeah,
'Cause I almost
they
hit
just
'em.
go on the road. Yeah, they stop at the stoplight.
So it's
really
more than
like-
a few.
It's the 4x4 version.
Yes.
Of, wow.
Yeah.
If you ever feel like you're running low on material, just show up to
Oh, yeah.
Marion. Just
Spend a
hang
week
out-
in Marion.
Hang
You're-
out with us for a while.
Do you
Be
tip
good to
them
go.
over ever?
I honk at them.
It's hard. They're top heavy.
You need a good football team. You need to find a whole mess of Mexicans playing soccer.
A whole mess of Mexicans. I think
Oh,
we
we
found a
circled
name
back.
of the
Yeah.
episode.
good.
Okay. All right. There
Okay.
it
a
is.
whole mess of Mexicans.
I don't know.
with
Like,
Dave
your thing.
Landau.
I
Do your
just
thing.
wanted to talk about.
I'm
I
sorry.
know,
No,
but
we
you got a
can't.
whole
Comedy-
list of
It's just hard for me not to make jokes when we're talking about people that drive around in their own
Yeah.
Walmart scooters.
It's set up for it. So here's really what I wanted to know, because I am interested in. I don't know why I'm trying to have any kind of serious conversation. Should I just
And-
ditch
well,
the serious
no, please.
conversation?
No,
We are
please.
going to do the Netflix suggestion of the week. Every and that's when you get to hear. Stella, how you doing?
Can I
Are we okay?
can I say something?
Why
I
did
know-
they do that to me?
Can I say something, Jason?
Go ahead.
My watch just told me it's time to stand and move a little bit.
Oh, did it?
Yeah, it's
Ignore it.
shaming me.
You blow past that,
Really?
though, don't you?
Yeah, my watch shames me every day.
Well, I see you're doing nothing about it.
Absolutely nothing. It gets more aggressive every time too. It's like, seriously, fatty, stand up.
Is your comedy thing better than the Netflix?
I don't know. We could do the Netflix, and then we
You
could
just
go
want
on.
to squeeze the
Let's
comedy
ask the
thing in?
questions. We're good.
Just do it. Ask it.
Well, so here's what I wanted to know. So, like, I don't know the pitch of the show that Jason gave you, but pretty much when we
You're
tell
witnessing
people,
it right now.
You're witnessing it. This is unfortunately this is it, Dave. This is the best show we've ever done. And one of the pitches that we give is like, you can listen to the show with your kids in the car. Like, that's one of the things we say.
Yeah.
We're not like trying to do that, but that is kind of what happens, right?
Yeah. Right.
And so that's like part of the thing. And I listened to, it was really interesting, your interview on Glenn Beck
Okay.
that you did, and he was, you know, really hitting the dark comedy, the offensive comedy stuff pretty hard. And I was thinking as I was listening to it, I was like, I'm really interested, like, you know, like about like I'm thinking about like lines. I'm like, well, certainly everybody has a line. And then you made a joke about your mom's suicide, and
Yeah.
I was like, well, I guess Dave doesn't have a line. I guess
Not really.
no, yeah. So that's what I was thinking. So I was thinking about, like, because the term that kept on being used was offensive comedy, right? Like, it's offensive. And I started thinking, like, what does that like mean? Like,
Offensive to who?
yeah, like I started like, what is offensive? Because it seems to me, and you know, I definitely want to know what you think about this, but it seems to me that on some level, comedy is just you're eliciting a laugh from someone, right? Like, that's the goal of comedy, is you're just trying to get someone to laugh, or a group of people to laugh. And that's why it's so hard, because in order to laugh, you got to be surprised. And it seems to me that laughter is a defensive tool that we have, because like when you tickle somebody, right?
Yeah.
It's true. The reason they laugh is because they're like uncomfortable. I don't like this.
It depends who
And
you tickle.
So what happens? You tickle a lot of people? Well, you do drive that van.
Yeah.
So
I mean, he did the whole way here with me.
I'll find your spot. I will. So
There it is.
Found it real quick.
I got lots of practice. I can spot it a mile away.
But that is, I think, scientifically what's happening. So it's like, it is a defensive mechanism, laughter is. So by definition, I would think you would have to be offensive to create laughter. So on some level, you have to surprise someone enough or catch someone off guard enough to make them laugh, you know? But like, I don't know, I was just thinking, like, what does that even mean to say that it's offensive? It'd be like, oh, people are being too offended. And I feel like there are some bad comics that just use that to say, well, people are just so offended, but it's just not funny. Just because we're not laughing doesn't mean you're offensive.
They're just being mean to be mean.
It's just being mean, and it's just not funny, right?
Yes.
So what I don't know. I'm just curious. Like,
no, I get what you're saying.
For your definition,
we should have done the Netflix thing.
I know we should have done Netflix thing.
No, I think it's actually I think what you're saying is interesting. I get what you're saying, like shock comedy for the sake of shock, or like to hurt somebody, or to punch down, or like even people might be offended by like the Walmart thing we were saying. But honestly, if you break that down, even what I'm talking about is severe addiction, talking about health, and I'm breaking that down to my own addictions. Like, I understand why somebody gets that way, because I'm a recovering alcoholic, drug addict, like food addict. Like, I don't do anything except in extremes.
Yeah.
Right.
So when I'm talking about like something like my mom's suicide, if I'm doing it in a place, or if I'm doing a meeting where I'm talking to people that have been broken by that, I'm doing it out of a place of love and understanding, so they can maybe laugh at something that's happened that's dark in their own life. It's not from a place being like, "Daha, you killed yourself."
Right.
It's from a place of like, I understand what it's like to go through that pain, so I'm trying to like alleviate it through some form of comedy.
Sure.
Do you look at it as like you're trying to heal these people?
In a way, like now I do, because I've been doing it for so long that I've found that only because like when I tell certain stories over the years, people have come up to me or written me notes saying like, "Hey, this really helped me."
Yeah.
I don't do it on purpose. Like, I'm not trying to be like I'm a healer, but the fact that people have written me almost weekly saying, "I've been sober for this long because you said this," just makes me feel like I'm going in the right direction. It's allowed me to be more honest about my life. So it's sort of a trade where it's allowed me to open up more. That's the way I would put it. Like, it's not necessarily I'm trying to do that, but it's allowed me to go in that direction.
Right.
So like with my mom, I think the one joke I was referencing, and it's not a joke I do a ton, but it was just a true thing where my mom was very bipolar, and she had started breaking after my dad. 'Cause I talk about my dad dying on stage. I talk about, even the first time that he had like a halo drilled in his head after he had Agent Orange, and like I was tripping on 4 hits of acid, and he's like, "Where were you?" Like when I was sneaking in the house, I'm like, "Where were you?"
Yeah.
I'm like, "You have a steering wheel nailed to your head." I'm like, "I'll go get some butter." But but when my mom like lost my dad, she went crazy, dude.
Yeah.
So like she did it soon after we had my son, which was a bizarre thing. But she would call and be like, "Can I babysit?" And I was like, "Mom, I'm going to need you like the whole 5 hours.
Yeah.
So if you decide to kill yourself at like 3 hours in, can you like hang yourself from the ceiling fan so he's got like a mobile?" Because I can't just leave him with nothing to look at.
Sure.
It's pretty important.
Yeah.
So it's like it's a super dark joke, but
Yeah.
it's like I was also the only person in my family too who was acknowledging what she was going through.
Right.
I was the only one who was talking to her, trying to call her out, trying to get her help. Like, it comes from a very real place, while everybody was like, "It's best we do what we've always done in our family and ignore everything that's
Right.
ever happened."
Yeah.
So for stuff like that,
It's not like you're standing up on stage saying like, "What's the deal with suicide?"
I know. I'm like, you guys, come on. Norm Macdonald has a great joke about that, where he talks about, he's like, people go, "How can you kill yourself?" He's like, "Really? You don't you know about life? How it all just ends in sadness? How there's just no hope, and everything is just disappointing?"
Yeah,
to
yeah,
defeat
yeah.
you. Like, it's always this funny angle where it's not. People always look at that from these weird parts where they go, "I don't know how somebody could do that." Yes, you do.
Sure.
It's just being honest and trying to show that, like, don't be so judgy against all these people who deal with mental illness. And I think opening up and being honest about that does help people.
Sure.
And when you're punching down at people, like ripping on somebody because they have Down syndrome is just stupid. Like, just why? Why are you doing that? You're not doing anything. You're not helping anybody. You're just saying something awful for the sake of saying something awful. It's not shocking. It's not edgy. It's pointless.
Yeah.
To me. And I can't say that I've never done it, but we've also all been in 8th grade.
Sure.
Yeah.
So it's like eventually you have to grow up and move past that. Like, we've all said things that are completely horrible.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's why too, with like the whole, like, you talk about cancel culture and this and that. Like, I don't think anybody should be canceled for anything or all this stuff that's been going on.
Yeah.
But there is definitely stuff that people say where you're like, "Wow, that was just bad and in bad taste," and I'm not going to pretend that it's brilliant.
Yeah. Yeah. Because sometimes it's like I feel like, because I do listen to a lot of interviews with comedians. It's always interesting to me. They seem to be pretty introspective people. And sometimes there's like a group of them that feels like they're very like there's an attitude towards people that are offended all the time. And it's frustrating to me because we're living in this stupid woke, always offended for other people, culture, things like that, you know? But then there are some things that I'm just like, I don't know, like to talk down to people that are offended. It's just like myself, maybe I shouldn't be, okay? Like maybe whatever. But like I have a hard, like if I hear somebody, like I've heard a couple of like 9/11 jokes, for instance, and it's just kind of like, it hits me in a way that's just like, I don't know, why is, that just doesn't, I understand what you said was funny, but like, so do you feel like that's like a character defect? Like you should just get over it. Like it's not that big of a deal. Like let's laugh about it. If it's funny and it counts. You see what I'm saying?
No, I've made 9/11 jokes.
Yeah.
And it's like, if it's something that bothers you, you have the right to be offended by them.
Yeah.
It's like but if I make one, it's deliberately for me because it's such an inappropriate thing at a time where you shouldn't make it, where I do want to catch you off guard, where it's like, why did you do that just now?
Yeah.
You know, and to me, that's funny. To you, you might not like that at all, but you have the right to not like that.
Right.
I'm not going to be like, you're wrong. If it's something that troubles you, you have the right to be bothered by it. Like, that's why if somebody is offended, especially about something like that, and if it's something that affects you, that I get. There is fake outrage.
Yeah.
Where somebody wants to stand up in the middle of a show. I had one guy, for example, I was in, it was Tacoma, which was odd, because, but you have gay people in the audience, trans people in the audience, whatever it is, and my trans joke is about me, where I go, look, if I were to compete as a woman, it would make no difference whatsoever. You know, after one lap as an Olympic swimmer, I'd be at the end of the pool, and the announcers would be like, I don't know who this fat girl is. Her testicles are hanging out of her bathing suit. They're like, that's Dava. She's always in the shower trying to get us to wash ourselves in front of them before the big meets. And like I do this whole thing about what a terrible trans athlete I would be.
Right.
And this guy stands up and he goes, this is the most transphobic show I've ever seen. And he's going to pull out his phone to record it, to get, you know, his moment.
Yeah.
And I'm like, how? I go, I'm making fun of me. And there's gay people, there's everybody in the crowd who can be equally offended.
Yeah.
And I go, is this offending anybody else? And they're like, no. I go, I'm making fun of me.
Right.
Yeah.
Where am I making fun of anybody else?
Right.
And he's like, but it is. And I go, go ahead, get your recording. And he realizes that he's in the wrong, and he
Right.
runs out of the room.
Yeah.
Runs up to the bouncer, and the bouncer's like, you have to pay your tab. You can't just leave. And the guy goes, can I go back in? I think I overreacted. He's like, no. But it's like that guy went to a comedy show, waited until he heard a word,
Right.
and then wanted to film a moment where he was a hero to ruin the whole show. That's not a guy. It's just a guy trying to get likes online to be like this fake gay advocate.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's like, and again, my whole thing online is, I'm saying I'm a horrible athlete.
Yeah.
So if I were to become a woman, I would still be the worst athlete on the team.
Right.
That was the joke.
Yeah.
And they took it and spun it. He took it and spun it into hate, where it's like that wasn't where it existed.
Yeah. Yeah, because I think there's a couple things going on. It's like also like as a comedian, the kind of comedy that you want to do, what you're interested in or what works for you, but then just the general free speech thing. Because I was talking to my wife about this, and I asked her about it because she might be more prone to be offended at something than I would. But I mean, her attitude was like, she's like, but if I don't like what somebody's doing, I just won't go to their show. Like, I don't understand why, you know, like I just won't go to their show, you know? So, or watch their stuff or whatever, you know? And so obviously we're living in a crazy time where people like that just show up. I mean, he was not interested in your comedy. He obviously went there on purpose, waiting for you to say whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
And
that's a problem.
it's like we made the van jokes. We did whatever. It's like, it's because you have kids. It's because it bothers you so much. It's
Right.
like we made it. We were talking about the end of Sound of Freedom on the show the other day, and at the end where Jim Caviezel was saying you can donate tickets, and we did. And then he's like, make sure you see it in the theater where you have sweet buttery popcorn and like a big giant tub of cola. And me and Ryan Long were just saying how funny the juxtaposition was all of a sudden, because we're like, we just watched the most horrific movie that really bothered everyone so much. Like I had my son wearing like bright yellow for the next 4 days because it bothered me so much.
Sure.
So we were just
noticed.
saying like we were in no way making fun of any of the topic. You know what I mean? Like we were just saying like it was such a funny juxtaposition, and it wasn't Jim Caviezel doing anything wrong.
Yeah.
It just made us kind of laugh
Sure.
at the weird juxtaposition of like, but make sure you see the movie where they kidnap kids with a big bowl of a big bunch of buttery popcorn and a
Sugary
nice-
drink.
Yeah, it's just funny.
Yeah,
and like,
sure.
And honestly, the most Christian people on our staff found what we were saying hilarious.
Right.
But a few people that were watching were like, "You're saying that what this man did to save all these kids was wrong?" It's like, wow, yeah, that's what we meant.
Nailed it.
You totally got it. We totally are cool with
No,
it.
we're not Vice. Okay.
Right, exactly. No. What we're saying is it was a funny juxtaposition in the sentence, and you're especially going to laugh at it because it's so tense and inappropriate.
Yeah.
That when there's that quick moment of humor as a comic, you just kind of like go, what? Like, and that was it.
Yeah.
And then I went on my show for 3 days and was like, go see this movie.
Yeah.
It's
Right.
very important because it's not just Epstein Island. It's not just this. Like, it's a huge cultural problem.
Right.
I mean, human trafficking that I've been talking about even when I was on Crowder, Cumia, it's been hiding in plain sight for years.
Yeah.
It's everywhere.
Yeah.
Like, it shouldn't just take one movie now for people to go, oh, this is happening. It's everywhere.
Yeah.
So that's also what I was saying on the show. It's like it shouldn't take one movie for you guys to start opening your eyes. It's everywhere.
Right.
Yeah.
Stop pretending this is a new problem. But I do give tons of credit to those filmmakers that came out and made it, and screw Disney for trying to hide it.
Yeah, right.
So it's like, to find this little bit of humor in this dark moment, which is what I try to do, and then have people be angry at you for it, that's what I can't stand, where it's like, I'm not allowed to make fun of certain topics
Right.
because they're supposedly taboo.
There were. I think there were like two funny parts of that movie, even if I remember correctly. Just a couple of parts were like, kind of broke it. But it's
Yeah.
just like that movie's just you're just like, please make me laugh for just a second, so that I can like escape this horror. You know what I mean? And just
Yeah, well, we were laughing at the guy who got cast as the pedophile. It's like, can you imagine getting that role where they come in and you're like, oh, you're perfect. Congrats.
Hey,
And the
cancel
guy-
the rest of them.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
He has a
Right.
band just like yours, Jason.
Yeah, probably does.
like the janitor walks by and it's like, don't worry about it. We found the guy. And he's like, who, me?
When so many actors, the first couple roles they get known for, like that's the archetype.
Right.
So
They
now
get to
he's
be.
just a pedophile the rest
For
of his
all the
life
movies.
in
Right.
Hollywood.
Yeah.
They did cast it well though. That dude looks like one. If
Oh,
I've
no.
ever seen one.
Yeah, I feel like they just found him in jail and were like, we're going to let you out for 3 weeks.
He was cool with it. You know.
Yeah, and it's like it was very well cast in this great message.
Yeah.
And just being a father and dealing with that, like in the 80s, almost being picked up, having to deal with stuff that was going on inside of Catholic churches and dealing with stuff, and having to lose my faith when stuff happened to my family, come back to God, dealing with drug addiction, dealing with stuff that I had seen and knew about. Like, a lot of that is very deep with me. So that's why I do make fun of dark stuff sometimes.
Yeah.
Because I think it's important, because if you don't try to like mock something or like look at the dark, like if you don't like laugh at the devil,
Yeah.
what's the point?
Sure.
Right.
There's no better way to like disarm something that takes itself so seriously
I
than
remember
laugh at it.
at our mom's funeral 9 years ago.
Yeah.
9 years ago. I mean, it was just horrible, the whole experience. But like, I got a lot of laughs that night too, because it was like, you know what I mean? People come up to you and they just like, my friend came up to me, he's like, "How you doing?" And I was like, "I'm in absolute denial," and I was like, giving him like thumbs up, And I was just like, I can make people laugh so easy tonight because everybody's so on edge because this is just so horrible what happened,
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm gonna just.
Just roll with it.
You know what I mean? Like, when else am I going to have this kind of leverage,
Okay. Do you want to try to squeeze in Netflix?
No.
Okay.
I don't think it matters.
I just thought you'd like to.
Well, I am proud of the song.
He
so
wrote the song.
I
Hit
wrote
the
the
song.
song.
Just
Just
do it
play
really
the song, so it's not that big a deal. I just kind of got a musical.
I want to hear it.
Okay, here it is.
Netflix, watch these shows with us.
It goes on longer than you want.
Netflix, or maybe Hulu Plus. Netflix, watch these shows with us. Netflix,
Still happening.
Netflix, or maybe Hulu Plus. Or maybe Amazon Prime or something like that, like YouTube. We don't want to put a box around what you watch, so
There it is.
you never
Man, I
know.
was locked in that day. I mean, I was in the pocket that day. Jason,
That was a one take.
That was one take.
Yeah.
Didn't practice it. Didn't write it. Just picked up a guitar and started going, you know? And after I finished, I was like, that's the best I'm going to do.
And you only named 4 of the 4,000 streaming services.
Well, that
you
was
could've
like
chosen.
8 years ago. So
it's been a while.
Notice I was saying Hulu Plus. I don't think it's that way anymore.
I
but
don't know.
It doesn't matter.
Okay, so my Netflix suggestion of the week.
Make it quick.
Gideon and I just got through all 3 Rush Hours.
Okay.
1, 2, and 3.
Yeah.
And so it's fun. It's a fun.
Is
It's,
Gideon kind of like now, like, man,
he thinks he's Crust Tucker.
He's probably like, he's on the search to find a Chinese friend.
Yeah. No, he's walking around like doing the
Yeah.
shake, the head thing,
Levi told me the other day, so Gideon is
Don't let
your...
him watch Friday.
Well, not yet. He's 14, and he's right on that line
He would
of
love
like,
it. He would
Okay.
love
He
it.
would love
I
it,
was going to
but
say I watched it when
Yeah.
I was 12.
Gideon, yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Gideon is your tanner child.
Yeah.
It's got a little bit more melanin. What do they call that?
Melanin.
Melanin?
Yeah.
Anyway,
melatonin is what you sleep with.
Levi told me the other day, because we were all at summer camp together. Levi was there and Gideon was there. And Gideon, from birth, has been raised by you, a
Yeah.
very white person.
Very white.
Like an extremely white
Yeah.
person. And Levi told me the other day, he's like, I don't understand how Gideon is so black. You know what I mean? Like, what do you mean? Like, he's like, he's like, no, not like his skin. Like, he's like, he can beatbox really well. Like, he's like, does all of these things. He's like, grew up in the same home as these 2 white people over here. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
they, like, he's like, I don't understand it. I was like, I don't get it either.
He's pretty black.
He is.
Yeah.
I think you are born with that, with like rhythm.
that's
and
true.
I think you are just born with talents. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's got to be it.
Well, so like
because
the
I'm
nature
looking
versus
at you.
nurture.
It's got to be it.
The nature versus nurture. We didn't
Yeah.
raise that.
No.
That is who he is.
You weren't beatboxing around.
No.
Over his cradle.
I feel like you try to expose them to MC Hammer pretty early, though.
Oh, we did a lot of MC Hammer. Too legit.
Yeah.
Too legit to quit.
That'll be enough.
Hey.
My Netflix suggestion is Hijack, starring Idris Elba. It's pretty good. We like it.
What are you watching? Or you're on a show, kind of.
Well, yeah, you could watch Normal World
Kind
on
of.
Blaze TV. I would suggest that. I like that you called it kind of. It's kind of a program. Tuesday through Thursday.
Kind of on a thing.
Yeah, that's a thing. I don't
Yeah, I don't know what it is either.
It's not
to
on
be
Netflix,
honest.
though, but that's okay.
No, I don't really watch much Netflix, to be honest with you.
could be anything.
I started watching. What's that?
Could be anything.
Yeah.
What am I watching right now? I finally started watching Righteous Gemstones, and I don't know why it took me so long.
Jason, you
I
would
don't know
love
what that
that.
is.
It's got your favorite actor in it.
Who?
Who's your favorite actor?
I don't know.
Danny McBride.
I love Danny.
I know.
McBride.
Here's why I didn't watch it for the longest time, and because it's about like the church, and I just figured it
It's
was
like a mega church, right?
Yeah, and I figured I'm like, okay, well, this is going to be sort of just whatever. And but the thing I love about Danny McBride is it always comes from a place of like understanding what he's doing. So it's this it's absolutely genius. I'm only into the first season, but it's absolutely incredible.
He does make me laugh in a way that other people don't. Like he's funny. He's a horrible actor. He's like not a good actor. You know what I mean? Like
Although I will say his entrance in End of I forget it. It's the Rapture movie. Mm-hmm. It's like End of Day.
is that the one? Don't Look Up.
Yeah.
No.
When he's
Where he's playing himself, and he's the most garbage human being in the world.
Yeah.
It's the greatest entrance of a character ever. And it's just him in a tub blowing smoke rings, and then he just eats all their food.
he makes all. The camera pans over the food. He's doing the angel thing.
Yeah. It's just,
That's great.
He's a funny guy.
Yeah, he's really, and that show's really brilliant.
Are we at 52?
We're past.
Okay.
You know, that's a
So,
show.
yeah.
I could sit here and talk all day, but I won't do that to Dave because he's got a real living to make. You know, so he's got to get back in that van. If you want to call an Uber, we totally get it.
I get it.
You know,
It's another van.
The worst one.
Yeah, it's way scarier.
no one will blame you. You can
Guys
stay
like
here.
sit up front too. All right.
All right, that's a show.
That's a show.
That's a show.
That's it.
Thank you, Dave, for coming on.
Thank you for having
We
me.
really do appreciate it. So this is Dan signing off for Jason and Dave and everybody else, reminding you to always keep your stick on the ice and never wear the blue sweats.
Sit, Boo, sit. Good dog.
I have spoken.
Good night, Lauer Patch Kids.
There it is.
All right.
That was a fast 52.
Dude, that flew.
Yeah, it was fast. It was fast.
Well, thanks, Dave.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
thanks
Thank you.
again. Yeah,
Remember the walk back?
I will. It seems hot, but I need the exercise.